For years, the Harvard University was considered the world's most productive research university. In fact, American universities held prestige and attracted students from around the world. Well, that era may now be ending. Because according to the latest Leiden rankings, which measure academic output based on research papers and citations, Harvard has fallen to number 3 in world rankings. And the universities which are moving up the fastest in the list are not other American universities. They are Chinese universities. Go back 2 decades. In the early 2000s, 7 American universities were in the global top 10 for research output. Only 1 Chinese university made to the top 25. Today, 7 Chinese universities are in the global 10, and the number 1 spot now belongs to Zhejiang University in China. In multiple global lists, including the Nature Index and university rankings by academic performance, Chinese institutions now dominate the top slots. In fact, in some alternative rankings, 12 out of the top 13 universities are Chinese. In America, Harvard University, for example, despite producing more research than ever, has still slipped in its rankings, not because it is doing less, but because others are doing much more. In China's case, it is investment. Over the past 2 decades, China has poured billions of dollars into universities, labs, and research programs. The Chinese government has made science and technology a core national priority, from quantum computing to space science and advanced manufacturing. Chinese researchers are also publishing more in English language journals, making their work more visible and accessible and more cited globally. While China is investing in education, American universities are facing new pressures. Remember, the Trump administration had slashed federal research funding, cutting billions of dollars in science grants. And on top of that, travel bans and anti-immigration policies. They've also hit hard. In August last year, the number of international students arriving in the US reportedly fell by nearly 20%. And that matters because international students are a key part of America's research engine. Education experts warn that this is not just an academic issue. Research universities power innovation. They drive breakthroughs in medicine, in energy, in defense, and in technology. When universities fall behind, countries lose their competitive edge. It's a tale as old as time. The Chinese leadership knows this, and it is working towards it. In fact, President Xi Jinping has openly said that global power today depends on scientific dominance. To be sure, yes, the United States still has some of the world's best universities. Harvard remains number 1 in highly cited papers, and American schools continue to lead in medical and biological sciences. But this gap is narrowing. The warning signs may not show up immediately because research takes years to turn into actual results. But experts say that today's funding decisions will shape tomorrow's rankings and shape who dominates the world in these key sectors. And for the first time in decades, America is being challenged at the very top. Meanwhile, Vladimir Putin's Overtakes missile has got Europe in the crosshairs. President Emmanuel Macron has warned that France is within range with just minutes as a buffer for it to react. European capitals are now scrambling to match Russia's strike power. In fact, the French president has urged his European partners that they need to urgently acquire hypersonic missiles. Our next story brings you the latest.
Paris is worried. A new Russian missile has rattled Europe's nerve center. President Macron is warning France could be minutes away from impact. Russia's new generation Overtakes missile is sending shock waves through European capitals, and Paris is on the edge. French President Emmanuel Macron has warned that the missile has the range and the speed to strike France, forcing Europe to confront a brutal reality. Its skies may not be safe. Russia's Oreshnik is a high-speed maneuverable missile designed to overwhelm air defenses. Analysts say it can travel at hypersonic speeds, sharply reducing reaction time. From launch points inside Russia or Allied territory, the missile could reach Paris in minutes, leaving little room for interception. Oreshnik flies at speeds of 12,300 km per hour. It is stealthy and maneuverable, making it almost unstoppable. The massive range of over 5,000 km puts several European capitals in its range. This missile can reach London or Paris less than 10 minutes when launched from Belarus. France is now urgently pushing Britain and Germany to jointly develop new missile defense systems capable of shooting down Oreshnik. The message from Paris is clear. Europe cannot rely indefinitely on American systems. It must build its own shield. NATO relies heavily on US-built systems such as Patriot and Aegis Ashore. Germany is leading the European Sky Shield initiative, which includes Patriot, Israel's Arrow systems, and short-range defenses like Iris-T. These systems are effective against aircraft and some ballistic missiles, but hypersonic threats are a different beast. Oreshnik is designed to exploit those gaps. Its speed, low flight profile, and evasive maneuvers make interception far more complex. European officials fear that existing radars may detect it too late and current interceptors may not be fast enough. The warning from Paris is not about tomorrow's war. It is about preparedness, because in modern warfare, minutes matter, and in the age of hypersonic missiles, geography offers no comfort. For Europe, Oreshnik has changed the equation from distant threat to immediate danger. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Iran's streets may be growing quieter, but the region around it is anything but calm. West Asia finds itself on an edge once again, as questions swirl around one man and one decision. Will Donald Trump strike Iran or not? This latest wave of uncertainty began with a single message when Donald Trump urged Iranians to keep protesting and told them to take over their institutions, promising that help is on the way. But now, over the past few days, Iranians in Tehran and other major cities have all reported a relative calm. The sound of gunfire has faded. Streets that saw massive crowds confronting security forces now appear noticeably quieter.
In the last 3-4 nights, Tehran has been quiet. The whole country, the riots have stopped. The regime change operation of United States and Israel has failed. In 1953, we had a coup, an American-British coup, which was successful. This was 20th century. In 21st century, Iranian people have realized that they don't want to be foot soldiers of Trump and Netanyahu.
According to reports, nearly 5,000 Iraqi militia men entered Iran through 2 border crossings in the south of the country, and they've been helping Iranian forces to keep the protesters under check. The slowdown comes after a brutal crackdown by Iranian authorities, a crackdown that rights groups say has left over 2,000 dead and tens of thousands behind bars. Yet, even as protests subside, the pressure on Iran is far from easing because Washington is moving its war machines closer. The Pentagon has confirmed that a carrier strike group is being redeployed from the South China Sea to the U.S. Central Command Area of Responsibility, a region that includes West Asia. At the heart of this deployment is the USS Abraham Lincoln, along with fighter jets, guided missile destroyers, and at least 1 attack submarine. This is no symbolic move. It will take around a week for the carrier group to reach West Asian waters, and its movement has not gone unnoticed. Iran responded with signs of alarm, issuing notices to air missions that restrict flights in and out of Tehran. At the same time, some U.S. personnel at key bases in the region, including Qatar's Al Udeid Air Base, have been advised to leave. Al Udeid, remember, which hosts around 10,000 American troops, was previously targeted during the 12-day war between the two countries. One thing about Washington is that they will never carry out any operation without being fully prepared. Take Venezuela, for example, where the CIA were in action for long. In fact, months of military mobilization took place before Nicolas Maduro was captured from Venezuela. But Iran is not Venezuela. They have stronger military presence with a stockpile of missiles. United States will never attack if all their arsenals are not in place. And therefore, this carrier move is only part of the picture. The United States already maintains a vast military footprint across West Asia, operating from at least 19 locations, including 8 permanent bases in Bahrain, Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. This network has remained in place through previous crises and remains fully operational now. But what makes this moment so tense is Donald Trump's unpredictability. He has done this before. Remember, back in the 2025 conflict, similar military mobilization was underway. Carrier groups repositioned, bases quietly adjusted, diplomatic signals mixed with military preparedness. At the time, Donald Trump had publicly spoken of diplomacy even as strike plans were being prepared behind the scenes. Reports from Washington say that Trump himself remains unconvinced that any single strike would deliver a decisive result. So that calculation, whether to act now or to wait, is what keeps all sides guessing. So the streets of Iran may be quieter right now, but the region is loud with uncertainty.